All right, we're back at the Six Rings Canes post-game show, and me and Paul are here pulling our hair out. We're struggling. I can imagine what you guys are doing down there, Vish, Jock, Danny. I don't know, man, but if I saw another inside zone rush, I was gonna go crazy. I was gonna throw myself off the press box, man. Honestly. I don't know. Over 300 yards rushing, which was nice. 332 yards or something along those lines. Canes win 31-14. It was sloppy. It was ugly. I didn't like what I saw. The third quarter was okay, but aside from that, I mean, I just saw a team that was 2019. Man, it was a 2019 team again. What do you guys think?
Uh,
Go ahead, Dan.
Personally, I think it's a combination of a new team and some rust. I don't think this team was very prepared for tonight. I think they kind of played down to the competition, but I also think that in a game like this, when you have like such a prevalent rushing attack, you don't necessarily want to tip your hand. Now there wasn't a lot of good to come out of tonight necessarily, but you know you want to kind of feel things out, see how things go, and take it from there. And tonight they showed that they still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to see them play down to the competition. Again, this is not a cupcake team, right? Yeah, Alabama, Birmingham, 9-5 last year, went to the conference championship. Not a terrible team. However, we had some opportunities to really kind of take it away and score some more points, and we didn't. A lot of three and outs. Um, it just looked ugly to me, Vish. What do you think?
Yeah, it was really. I mean, you mentioned the inside zone replay. It was really conservative. I was surprised at how much we just stuck with the run. I think from a positive standpoint, the running back talent was ridiculous. I definitely enjoyed that because I don't think the blocking was that good. I think the running backs turned that in, and King as well had some ridiculous plays that I thought the stats looked probably better than we were in terms of consistency. But I mean, that running back talent is just fun to watch. So that part I enjoyed. Other than that, the game was, like you said, pretty painful to watch, dragged on. It was kind of weird, too. In the fourth quarter, it looked like both teams just shut it down with like 10 minutes left.
Right.
I mean, it's a 17-point game. I don't know what UAB is doing, but they weren't probably going to win, but it seems like both teams were kind of like, all right, this is fine. And the fourth quarter, like, no one really did anything. It was just a lot of kind of sitting on the ball, and that was kind of weird because it's only 17 points. It's not like it was 30 or something. So that was kind of strange too.
With nails on the scratching board on the chalkboard. I mean, De'Aaron King also did some stuff with his legs, which we all knew that was coming. 83 yards rushing on the night for King, but some plays that he got out of that's not going to happen against North Carolina. It's not going to happen against Louisville, Florida State, right? Where he pulled a Houdini act and got away with a couple things. That's not going to happen. So the offensive line definitely, again, still work in progress apparently from what we're looking at now. They got to do a better job of shoring it up. I can see them making some changes at offensive line for the next game against Louisville. I can definitely see that. Paul, I mean, you're sitting right next to me. What are you looking at? What are you looking at, Paul?
This whole it felt like Lashley did not fully unleash the playbook. At least, like he kind of figured that, like even the first half, there was zero tight end involvement. The ball didn't really go to Jordan until the third quarter. Jordan was actually the leading receiver this game with 51 yards. And it seemed like once they got Jordan rolling, the offense entirely was rolling. Outside of just the running game. I mean, you get a running game definitely gave us a lot of optimism. They combined for 345 yards as a team. Cam with 134 yards, King with 83, and like I think like Vishnu mentioned, the fourth quarter just felt kind of dead. There wasn't really a lot of I guess excitement and electricity as we hoped. Especially like I feel like Miami could have easily put up 50 in this game for sure. There's just a lot of little things. They could have had three turnovers. We could have seen the chain three times tonight, and we didn't. We didn't even see it a single time. and on top of that, O-line play was just lacking. It kind of I can't even say definitively that they've taken a step, since last season. I feel they were just, especially on the tackle position. Overall, the they stopped the run really well. I feel like that was a big plus. Phillips definitely found himself in the UAB backfield often, but there's still a lot of things to be worked out, and you just gotta hope that by next week they kind of iron these kinks out, and hopefully we see more of this offense and see what's fully capable of.
Jock, what do you think? You're kind of quiet over there. Sexy time, Jock.
So I like my biggest point this for the season was that Manny Diaz was going to prove as a coach, and tonight he didn't because Miami came out. They didn't look prepared. The offense didn't look prepared. I mean, we ran the ball as I told you guys on one of the Six Ring Kings episode that King's gonna help the run game because the QB run game threat is the hardest thing to stop in college football because you're sacrificing. You have to sacrifice that seventh man and the eighth man in the box to protect QB run game when they're running, switch power, zone read, inside zone. But didn't look that tonight he didn't because Miami came out and didn't look prepared. So at the end of the day, I think that they have to do a better job of being prepared, and that comes to coaching. I didn't see anything that surprised me. It looked like Lashley doesn't really trust Derek King as much as we thought as a passer. When you see it that way as well, but I just think they wasn't prepared to play tonight, and that's just what it comes down to. No matter how you want to cut the mustard, they didn't look ready to play. Just missed throws, missed assignments. It was just that looked like a team that Manny Diaz came out with last year against Florida. The only reason why Miami did not lose this game is because UAB was not better than them, talent-wise. If that was a better talented team on the other side, I think Miami would have been in a bit of a dogfight. And I was shocked to not see the playmakers get involved. Like Brevin Jordan didn't get his first catch until the second half, which that's crazy. He's probably your best weapon on the field at times. He got some mismatch every time. So I just think they got to do a better job of being prepared. The running game is gonna be there all year because of the QB run game. That's gonna be there. We're gonna get that all year. We're gonna be able to run the football. But to win the 9 to 10 games, the 8, 9, 10 games, we got to be able to throw the ball effectively. And you're wasting time when you got guys like Pope, Wiggins. He missed Peyton on a wide open touchdown pass. He got to complete that. That's a touchdown. And against a good team, we cannot have mental lapses like that. Overall, Miami's run game was impressive. You cannot. That's a positive from the game. Like I also told you, DJ Ivy did not look good either. I'm not a big DJ Ivy fan. He knew I think the other kid Couch is probably gonna start on him as the season go on, but he did not look well. He didn't look good, but I think Miami has a lot to improve on, and I think they can build on some of the things that they did well tonight. I don't think we should look at this as a parameter, like. You know what I mean? I just think we should look at it as, hey, let's build from this. Let's not overreact because it is just one game. But some of the things we did see are concerning. The offensive line play, the missing throws, the not getting the weapons that we have involved. But the positive was, hey, we rushed for 337 yards on the ground with the running back talent we have. That's going to be there all season. And I think we just need to work out some kinks. But when they play Louisville next week, and that's who we got next, right?
Yep, Louisville next Saturday.
They're going to have to play way better than they did tonight. Derek King has to pass for at least 200, 250 yards to 300 yards for Miami to have a chance to compete to win 8, 9, 10 games in the ACC. If they play how they play tonight, Clemson is going to rule Miami. It's not going to be
I agree. Look, listen, I mean, 2 good running backs for you would be not bad. But Hawkins is even better, right? So we're going to have to kind of, game plan for that kid over there. Hawk, Javion Hawkins, I think his name is, Tutu Atwell, even Cunningham. If I don't even know if Cunningham is still their quarterback, but going back to this game, was it lazy? Was it conservative? I think Vish, you kind of hit it. Maybe it was conservative. Maybe it was lazy play calling on Coach Lampley's part. Maybe they're not just showing all their cards yet. And do I agree with not doing that? No, I think they should have just come up here and just put a 70 burger on these guys that they could have. Could they have? I don't know. Maybe like Vitch said, maybe it was a little conservative play calling, and they didn't want to show all their cards, because although Derek King didn't particularly throw the ball very well in this game, I just don't think that they pulled out all the stops and really put out their whole entire game plan either out there. So I like to see a little bit more of that. I like to see less sloppiness on the offensive side of the ball. I like to see some more creativity as well. And I know that obviously Rhett Lastly is known for that as well when it comes to his offensive play calling. So I like to see a little bit of more of that, but we'll see. They do have a lot to work on. They do have a lot to fix, definitely.
Another positive on the offensive side, we did run more plays than we were averaging than last year. I think last year we averaged like 65 plays a game. I think we eclipsed that tonight, so I think that's another positive, that we're getting more plays ran in the in the game. But to say they're conservative and all that, no. Those guys, when you look at Ohio State and stuff like that, when those guys play teams they're supposed to beat, they beat them. Like, it's not even about pulling out your best stuff, because your game plan changes from team to team. It's about more so of just looking effective in running the plays you are running.
Right. No,
yeah, and I think they were trying to be physical because they're compensating, because I think the O-line is still a problem. And they were trying to be physical, and they were trying to force it, and there were missed blocks, and they were just getting overpowered at points of attack. And where we saw the run effective, it was the running backs making plays, or it was a play here and there. It wasn't consistent. And to Jakari's point, those big programs, they can be conservative. They're still getting 7-8 yards a carry consistently, and then hitting the big ones. So they're putting up 70 points anyway. And we had some big plays. We had, in fact, I think every player that ran the ball, our three top running backs and King, had big plays, had explosive plays. But we would do like 3 plays in a row where we get a yard on each play and then go for 30. It was not consistent. And against better teams, you don't get those big plays as much as we did today. And that's where a lot of the yardage came from. And that's probably not replicatable when we play better opponents. So that's the concern. The other thing I thought, just on the defensive side, I thought our run defense, I thought the stats were a little misleading. I don't think we played well at all. I thought we took some bad angles, left some gaps open. They exploited it on the one possession, but they left. I mean, our defensive statistics look really good, but they left a ton of plays out on the field, missed some throws, dropped some passes. This game could have been closer.
I agree with you 100% that, Vish, because few plays in the third quarter, it was just like the drop tight end pass on the backside throw. The tight end for UAB just dropped the ball. They had a couple of runs with a dude on the reverse, and he picked up a big yardage. It's like I said, this all comes to coaching, because if you have your team prepared to play, we don't have that issue. And I know I see the comment says it's only the first games, no worries yet, hopefully, but habits are created from day one. It's not like last year when we watched us play Florida. What did we see? Unprepared, offensive line was bad, quarterback holding on to the ball too long. All right, so that went through the whole season. Like, Vish, did you see any improvement on the offensive line last year?
No.
From game one. And this
All the
is the
way
same all the way to the end. So you have to create good habits from day one. And like I said, Cam Harris looked amazing though. We got to give him credit. We're analyzing the game, but we got to give Cam Harris credit because he had a pretty big game, and actually pretty much he saved Miami from being 7-7 at half with not being 7-7, but his explosive plays helped Miami offense kind of get a little tread water. And I just think the formula for Miami is Brevin Jordan looked like their best offensive passing weapon, because when you to me, that I don't know how you How you feel about that, Josh?
Yeah, I just realized that I was
Yeah,
on
I
mute.
was.
So by the way, yeah, but I'm talking. You can't see me talking, but look, listen. Yeah, I agree with you. I think he is a top tight end. I mean, he is the top playmaker of this team. Him and Will Mallory. Will Mallory is another one. You've got two of the top tight ends in the country, and with zero targets, zero targets in the first half. It's unacceptable. You got to get those guys involved early and often. Okay, and in the red zone as well. They spread Will Mallory out.
That's
Why?
that.
They used him as a decoy, and they didn't throw the ball up to him. I know. The next play was a touchdown pass to Brevin Jordan, but a guy like that, 6'5", 6'6", throw the ball up to him. Let's not get
Jordan,
cute.
I
Just throw
agree.
it up, throw it up.
I agree.
And they weren't doing enough of that.
But Mallory and Jordan should always be the 1 and 2 in the red zone anyway when you're looking to throw the
Absolutely,
football.
absolutely. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, they've got to go back and do a little bit of
Yeah.
socializing on the offense, and on the defense. Like you said, Vish, I wasn't extremely impressed with what we saw on defense. I mean, you let a guy like at the beginning, you let a guy like Tyler Johnston, who had 15 interceptions last year, look like a world beater. And I was very frustrated with that. And I'm sure a lot of you were also, but don't tell me that I'm muted. I'm not muted again.
No,
You're
you're
killing me
not.
here.
No, he
Good,
he
Paul.
put that in there when you were muted.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking
That's why
about?
we're all sitting here waiting for you
Do
to
you
read it
do
on
you
mute.
got do you guys think that the receiver group is an issue? Because we didn't really get any production out of those guys tonight. Or
I don't know. Paul, you're out. You got kicked out. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like,
This
you
is
see me
a
though.
makeshift post game show here. This is how we do it around here. Do I think it's an issue? No, I don't think it's an issue. But
We didn't really try to get them involved much. I mean,
listen, we're actually
there
good,
wasn't
man.
much passing to the receivers. Harley made a couple of plays. Wiggins made a couple, one of which he made a personal foul after, so it kind of wiped it out. But I mean, there wasn't really a lot of targeting of the
Hey,
receivers.
We're gonna get it going. We gotta go. We got the press conference with Manny Diaz. We'll be back.
yeah.
You guys can keep going.
Yeah, Vish, that's what I was going to and going by what I mean by unprepared. Your player should not happen. Like, can't make a play and then come back and 15-yard penalty or personal foul. Like, you can't do that. I just think Miami. I don't know. Like, for you guys, we had some positive things, but for me, number one, Manny Diaz just doesn't look like he's prepared to be a head coach, in my opinion.
And you talk about starting good habits and having good habits last throughout the entire season. The first conference game is next week, so they have a lot of film to watch and things to improve on before then. I mean, hopefully we'll see a more spirited effort out of them next week because, today they just kind of looked like they were conservative and they didn't really know, what their game plan was. The tight ends weren't involved, and if I was a coach, for instance, I would be looking to get everybody a touch, from the tight ends to the wide receivers to the running backs. And although I am encouraged by the running game, there were a lot of things that I think need to be cleaned up, and hopefully that can be fixed against Louisville next week, but they still have a lot of work to do. It's going to be an interesting film room this week, for sure.
Yeah, and to Jakari's point, some of the themes from last year showed up again, which is worrying. Certainly the preparation, especially with an opponent that we don't maybe view on our level, and then not coming out ready to play. They jumped that we fumble the punt. They're in the end zone 7-0. We're down early. Like, that loses you games against better opponents. If you're not ready to play, you can't take half a quarter off or a quarter off, and we seem to still be doing that consistently. There are moments where we look good, but we don't seem to be able to put 4 quarters together. And when you play ACC teams, you're going to get beat doing that. And we saw that last year. Once they got into a rut, this team could not get out of it. It was just kind of repetitive. And some of that showed up today, some of it didn't. But yeah, to Jakari's point, this is kind of a Judge Manny season. And that didn't look that different from last year in terms of how the team was prepared. If you look at what the head coach's responsibilities are, because we have a new offensive coordinator, we did some different things offensively, which is part of it. But if you look at kind of what the head coach's responsibility is, it looked like the same team from that standpoint.
Yeah, somebody made a comment saying, man, he looks like the best. At best, he's a great DC. He needs to bring some type of fire to this offense. Cuban Kane, I kind of don't agree. I don't think the offense is going to be a problem going forward. Just because of some of the things we did see tonight when they kind of, got into a little rhythm. But this is, for me, and I don't know where other people stand, but Manny Diaz is on the seat for me because you got everything that program has gotten you, everything that you possibly could ask to give a head coach. They gave you the offense. They gave you the money to go get you whatever offensive coordinator you want, right? They gave you the receivers. They gave you the defensive coordinator that you chose because that's his guys. And at this point, it's kind of like let's see something going forward. So next week, let's see if Miami comes out. Like it was no energy on that team tonight. We didn't seem like okay, this is first game of the year. First game of the year, maybe it's the lack of fans, but as a coach, you have to get your team prepared for whatever circumstances you may face. If you're going down to Death Valley against Clemson, you pumping crowd noise into your stadium. I mean, into your practice. Hey, let's get prepared for this. We know it's gonna be loud. So it's certain things that like I said, it showed up tonight. I'm not gonna judge them after game one, but as the season progresses, as we keep doing these things and the film shows up and stuff like that, we're gonna see what's going on. Like next week, we'll see if Miami's gonna be ready to play on the road, similar environment, probably gonna be less capacity fans. Let's see if how Miami comes out and play. Because if they come out how they came out today, I don't think Louisville is gonna be that great, but they can beat you. They can beat you if you're playing bad. So,
So there's some comments coming in. Our defensive line, speaking of something positive, they were in the backfield a lot of this game, especially up the middle. Nesta Silvera was awesome, and we got some good pressure off the edge a few times. It's not all. We're slanting a little negative. There were some players that stood out. Definitely the defensive line looked really good. But I was kind of worried about the secondary. I know you earlier talked about DJ Ivy. There was a couple of busts there. But still not getting his head around.
To the credit though, Vish, it's gonna be a lot of that this season from a lot of teams just because they haven't had the spring to go through and work on that type of stuff. And live game action is different. But I do agree with one of the comments about the defensive coordinator. I probably do see Manny Diaz kind of taking over towards the end. But like I said, I don't think Ivy's going to be the guy going down the stretch. I just think he got the nod because he was a senior. I think the young kid, Couch, he can make some plays.
Yeah, he came in and had a pretty bad bust on a coverage also, Couch did. So, I mean, it's like you said, it's the first game. They're working out some stuff they probably should have worked out in spring, but they didn't really have that opportunity. And we're the first team that played, so maybe everyone looks bad because of that. Maybe it's not just us.
Yeah, because this weekend, if we watch like one of these lower rated teams, like not lower rated, but ACC teams roll the deck with one of these teams, we're gonna be like, whoa, we might be in for a long season. I like Manny Diaz. I just don't want to see him blow a good opportunity with the team he has, and I don't want to see him be that coach who gets a bad rap like Charlie Strong did when he went to Texas, got a bad rap. As being not a good coach, doesn't have his team prepared, and he never recovered. He recovered. Obviously, he's the head coach now, but I'm just saying he never really fully recovered because he could have went from Texas to another Division I. And Manny Diaz is at a big Division I, now, and I don't want to kind of see him fall to the wayside where he just never gets another head coaching job just because people just see him as a great defensive coordinator. So, but I love to hear what he got to say in his press game, though.
Yeah,
So,
well, I mean, another positive, so we're not all negative. The kicking game was good. We made all our kicks, and the punting was good too. So, I mean, we don't want to punt that much against UAB, but all of that kind of that stuff was good. Overall special teams, obviously we fumbled a punt, so that kind of clouds the whole thing. What do you guys think of the punt returning? So, Pope seems to be the guy to run kickoffs and punts back still. He obviously fumbled one of the punts. Is there someone else you guys want to see back there, or is that kind of you still go with him?
I like to see Pope just because I think he is explosive. But if I had to give another guy a chance, I'd like to see Restrepo back there, just to see how he operates back there and see if he can be like the Brax, like a spark there. But I think Pope does deserve the nod at punt return because he's gonna make some big plays back there as a punt returner. I watched the kid in high school make big plays returning punts. I just hope he puts it all together this season. Kind of had at the end of the game, he had a little riff with one of the players. I didn't really like that. Arguing with guys on UAB sideline. Don't need for that. You're up 31-14, but I like to see him, get it together there.
Yeah, and he did. To your point, he did have after the fumble, he came back, and I mean, it was scared the crap out of me. But he had a good punt return after he kind of ran back to the end zone and cut it back. So he showed maybe some more poor decision making, but talent overcoming it. Which, like you said, I think if as long as he doesn't turn it over again and kind of a little bit better in his decision making, the plays will happen because the talent's there.
And many people definitely underestimate the value of special teams, but special teams is huge, especially when it comes to like field position. A good punt return could put you in a position for a field goal right off the bat. So it'll be interesting to see how the special teams grow throughout the course of the season and how big a factor that will play for Miami for sure.
I mean, guys, I just came on here to say something real quick. So we can all agree that Clemson is the king, right, of the ACC. There's no doubt about it, without question. And you know that this was the only team you're going to be facing that's not in the ACC. Now, next 3 weeks, it's all ACC. You're going to have weeks off here and there. I'm just surprised how I really felt like the Canes offense should have came out with a bang, at least for this game. You know what I'm saying? At least to carry some momentum. Because, after Clemson, I get it. People don't think highly of ACC teams, man, but it's kind of 500. You know what I mean? Like, we never think that Virginia's any good. We never see, we never think much of any of those other teams like Pittsburgh and North Carolina, but those teams are well coached and those teams are going to show up. And you'd want to see Miami, at least against UAB, which, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've watched them a lot because I was on the staff for FIU the last 3 years when it comes to football. And, UAB is well coached, man. They don't have 5 stars, 4 stars, but you even showed them. But I really felt like Miami had an opportunity to start off the season with a bang. And I really wanted to see their offense explode. The defense, you could have, at least said, well, you got to wait and see and whatnot. And by the way, cornerbacks being 10 yards away, I feel like I'm watching an Al Golden defense again, per se. But
I saw defenders cross the line of scrimmage, so it's not an Al Golden defense.
I guess it's just the times that I watched. But I really felt like the Canes offense should have exploded more. And just 30-something points, I don't know. That's that. If I'm a Canes fan, I didn't see that fire. Like, you practiced all summer for this. You've waited since you scored 0 points in the bowl game. And this is the performance that you came out with? I don't know.
I thought the first quarter was a little flat, obviously. Turned it over, so we lost a possession there. And then, the fourth quarter, no one was even trying to score. So if we had kept the foot down, because the third quarter is where the offense finally started to kind of get it going. If we had kept the foot down in the fourth quarter, we probably could have put a couple more touchdowns up. Instead, just kind of sat on the ball. So I'm not that worried about that. And also, just to be honest, before the game, we talked a lot about let's see what the offensive line can do. I don't think it's there to explode on people. You need time to throw the ball and for those big plays to develop, and the offensive line's not there.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The offensive line can always be hidden. I kind of watched a little bit of Patrick Mahomes tonight in the Kansas City Chiefs offense.
He made some plays, Makari. He made some plays, man. He made some plays.
Kansas City's offensive line is not as good this year, but they're running plays where he's getting the ball out in 2.5 seconds or less to his playmakers. Miami has the same opportunity with the same weapons. Explosive guys on the outside can turn plays in there. You can get the ball out quick. The touchdown pass to Brevin Jordan, that was a 1-2 step. That was a 2-step drop, bam, hit him, bang, right there on the out route. So the offensive line play can be hidden, but you have to scheme towards to hide it. You cannot, like a lot of the
you cannot rely on it.
Yeah, a lot of the problem is the fans want to see the 70-yard touchdown pass and all that, but you don't have to scheme towards that. If you have an effective running game, which Miami's going to have throughout the season, because the QB run game, I'm gonna keep harping on it, is the hardest thing to stop in college football, because it's a lot of pressure on the defense to defend, because you have to always worry about the QB run. If they can do that effectively, which they will, the passing game will always be there because they'll be loading the box. Now it's just gonna be up to the playmakers to make the plays, but they'll be loading the box. So, like I said, I agree with what you were saying about Miami had a chance to show, come out and be like, okay, this offense is ready. But as I keep reverting back to, that's coaching. Manny Diaz did not have his team ready to play tonight. No matter what you said, you want to know though. You gotta always look at the positive. You want to know, but can you keep what you did tonight? Is tonight's performance a winning performance?
All right, so a couple quotes from Coach Manny Diaz. A lot to correct from game one, but a lot to be proud of as well. His initial impressions on the offense, it took us a minute to get going. As a team, we need to do a better job of finishing. I'm proud of those guys. So I guess, he's not going to say really much to it. It's the first game. But now it begins next week. Well, actually, it should begin right now. Now you guys are preparing for Louisville. You don't know the time of the game yet. It's going to be prime time because it's on ABC. So
I expect the 3:30 kick though.
3:30 kick.
3:30 kick. 12 or 3:30. I don't know who all plays next week, who's all on the schedule, but they should probably get a 3:30 kick, 12 to 3:30 kick. But Miami, listen. Miami has to Manny Diaz next week. That team need to come out and everybody be like, okay, that's a well prepared team. And for instance, at FIU with Butch Davis. Butch Davis team's gonna be well prepared to play just because he's experienced as a head coach.
I saw that week in and week out without a doubt. Sorry. Yep, I saw that.
It's just like Butch Davis. It's like the guy from FAU, Lane Kiffin, when he was there.
Lane Kiffin.
Same thing. Willie Taggart's another guy like Manny Diaz, who his teams be not well prepared to play. You seen that at FSU. Hopefully he does a better job at FAU, but I'm just saying he's not prepared to play. But certain things is coaching. Now the corners playing 10 yards off is a lot to do with the defense and them not being confident in the team being able to press man to man. So that's scheme. But at the same time, Manny Diaz has to coach Miami to the point where next week when we had this pregame and postgame show, we'd be like, well, that's a team that looked better from week 1 to week 2. And we'd be like, okay, that team was ready to play. But I have not yet seen Miami ready to play a football game in a long time. Rivalry games are easy to play because everybody want to play against the rival. But it's games like this that let you know, hey, where your coaching stand at.
Well, one more comment here on the offense from Coach Diaz. He said on why the running game was twice as much as they passed. He said it will be what is needed to win the game. We wanted to pound the rock. There you go on that one.
I disagree with that. I just think they
I think we will all disagree with that. You're not the only one.
I just think
I'm not even a Canes fan, and I don't even like that because I really truly feel that an opportunity.
I just think that they don't have as much confidence in King throwing the football as they tried to portray throughout camp.
Well, good luck facing teams like Clemson then if you don't trust your quarterback throwing the football, man. Because Clemson don't need a blitz on defense. They can
Uh,
send 3 to 4 guys and that's it. So good luck with
well,
them.
I mean, they got 2 weeks to before Clemson.
Yeah.
None of us predicted them for us to beat Clemson, but hey, Clemson can have a bad game, but I just think they need to get it together.
One more thing.
Yeah, and I mean Clemson's Clemson. Like I'm not really worried about them right now. Let's get through Louisville,
I mean,
then Florida
not-
State.
I
If we
yet,
walk
but-
into that game at
but
1
not
and
yet.
2, like I mean,
Not
who
yet.
gives a crap at that point?
But at the time though, you got to think about it. When Clemson was ascending to this powerhouse, they had games where you was just like, this team is good. Like when they played Georgia, when Georgia had Todd Gurley, and where
Right.
they had games like, well, like they can beat these
They
teams.
showed progress little by little by little.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
So
And then they went boom.
yeah,
And then they
so
started
that's-
taking over.
So the last time we played Clemson, they beat, like they destroyed us. I want to see Miami when they play Clemson this time. Like, okay, they lose 35-28 or something like that. Oh, hey, they showed progress in the game. Like, because that game can shape the season. Like, to be honest, because if they get blowed out against Clemson, that can derail the whole season. Because Miami does have a history of losing a game and deflates their whole season. Like it just makes them like, come on, like so.
Yeah, no, and it'll be really bad if we go to Clemson and look like we did when we played them in the ACC championship game. Like 3 plays into the game, you're like, oh god, we're gonna get killed. That first possession against Clemson, the ACC championship game, they threw like 2 passes. You're like, this is gonna get ugly so fast. We got to compete. We got to be competitive in that game. Even if we don't win, we got to look like we belong on the field with them, and that if we played it 10 times, we'd win sometimes. Like that's what needs to come out. Like you say, you got to show that progress. There was one part of progress today, though. When they cut the lead to 3 in the third quarter, which is obviously not good, they're only up 3. We actually went down and scored twice and put the game away. That wasn't happening last year. Last year, like we were playing Central Michigan, got in the same situation and won 17-12. Like we couldn't do that. So there was some improvement there where we were able to at least respond. To your point, it didn't happen at the beginning of the game again. So there comes the cat. Didn't happen at the beginning of the game again. So we saw that pattern, but we did see a good response at least when they brought it close and scored those 2 touchdowns and put the game away. Like we didn't really see that happen last year. We would lose the game when teams were in a tight game with us. So that was at least a little bit better.
And you guys got a kicker finally.
Yeah, so that's another thing I think probably added 2 wins to Miami season, and the kicker guy. I think he's gonna be able to.
My boy Jose, man.
He's a really good guy too. I met him a couple of times when he came out to Florida Christian. He's a really good guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, man. I like I said, I was in the locker room for the last 2 years, man, and Jose and his whole family, man. They're just such an outstanding family and act, and it's just those things like. There's just certain fans that are like, oh, well, he went to Coral Gables. I'm like, listen, let's be honest here. If you had this opportunity to go from FIU to Miami and you have one more opportunity left to showcase what you can do best, it is what it is, man. You got to give the kid all the credit in the world that he went and accepted it. And listen, he's going to get you games, man, because there were times last year where you guys just needed a field goal to win, and even a 25-yarder, you guys were biting nails. So it's just one of those things. Real quick, Jock. So you mentioned about the whole coaching thing. I remember last year where Willie Taggart Knowles had 2 weeks to prepare for Clemson, and I do agree with you. I sometimes see a little bit of Manny Diaz in him. He was very nonchalant. Oh, we are well prepared and whatnot. And Clemson came out and knocked them right in the mouth in the first quarter. 5 minutes in, already 21-0. You want to see effort. Not only that, though, you want to see at least consistent, smart plays. And penalties and all those other things, they got to go out the window. You can't beat yourself.
That's all
It's all coaching. And it starts, but that's my thing. It starts from the moment you walk in the first time through those doors at practice. And if you don't practice what you preach and you don't show that in games, you can't really say that there's been any sort of change.
Yeah. I've been saying since the summer and since before the recruiting, I was like, this is gonna be a make or break year for Manny, because number one, Miami could have got a better coach to come to coach that team. Les Miles was on the market at the time. Butch Davis was in the running at the time. Uh, it's just other there's better coaches out there, but it's it's nonchalant attitude. Like they come out against Florida. Florida looked it so bad in that game. They shouldn't have won that game last year. That was a terrible game. They getting 15-yard penalty. You got the guys sticking the middle fingers at these guys, and it's just like, why are we doing that? Why?
Yeah.
The day they had another like that personal foul, so it's just like, okay, are these things getting better? Nope, they still out there committing the same mistakes, like the penalties, the turnovers. To me, come to coaching because a punt returner, if he's coached exceptionally, hey, let's not fill the ball at this point of the time. Let it bounce, let it go. Let's fair catch it. Anytime a guy fumble a ball on the punt, it's because he's thinking about returning it, and then he fair catches it every time. If you ever watch a drop punt return, I guarantee you the guy fair catches very late because he's thinking about running. Just like last year against Florida, Jeff Thomas muffed the punt, Florida punched it right in. So it's just he has to improve as a like. To me, he has to get more dictatorship at the school. I know college kids don't like that, but at Miami, you need that because it's too much other distractions that help these kids make decisions. So he has to get more. He had to get better control of his team, and
And
I don't know.
one of the tells there is you're talking about a play. It's different players. So the only consistent thing is the head coach. We changed all the
Yeah,
offensive coaches, right? A lot of the players are new, and when you're seeing the same things, there's only one person you can really point at that point.
So, like I
You're right.
said, if he don't win 8 games, if he don't win 9 games, I think they're gonna fire him. He can go 8-3, they're gonna fire him because I just feel like they're gonna hire a coach, and it's sad to say a Mike Leach or some crazy coach like that come to Miami. They're gonna go 11-1, 12-0, get in the national title race, and he's gonna be like, "Well, damn, Manny Diaz put this program together." Similar to Mark Jackson at the Golden State Warriors. Mark Jackson couldn't get it done. They
Steve
hired
Kerr. Come
Steve
on in,
Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr comes in. Guess what? Now they defending champions back to back. Winning championships. So it happens all the time, but I just think Manny Diaz got to get it together, and I think he's the number one thing holding Miami.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's kind of just, I guess, go forward from here. So listen, it is what it is. The game's done. You're 1-0. Obviously, wasn't in conference. Next week at Louisville. Obviously, the most recent we could watch of Louisville is what happened last season. So I guess what you've seen tonight from the Canes, and then I guess knowing what we've seen from Louisville from last season and whatever practice film is out there, because certain teams actually released a couple clips and other teams were like, well,
Watch out, I don't understand
like
why.
I heard Dan Mullen say, because he was asked, so who's going to return your kicks? He goes, well, we got 15 guys right now at that position. And it's like, well, he's not going to give anything away. So, like, what do you think are the keys for the Canes next week at Louisville?
Okay, well, one, they have to be more prepared to play, more energy on the field at number one. I think on the road in a situation where it's going to be a very scrimmage-like feel to games, you have to create your own energy, your own juice. So I do think Miami has to do that. And I think they need to create some turnovers. I think Miami does have to create turnovers and just build off what you did well today. We ran the football very well. You got your tight ends involved in the second half very well. So I think you have to build off that. And you got to take more shots downfield with your playmakers that you have at receiver.
I mean, guys, listen, these stats right here, 18 from 27 from King, 5.9 per pass. I mean, that shouldn't happen with a tight end like Jordan and with the wideouts that you have at all, especially in a spread offense. I mean, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Also, one thing I saw here from Louisville, I'm sorry about my cat. Louisville's actually letting fans 18,000. So, not a so-called crowd, but there shouldn't be no home field.
It's no home field advantage this year for nobody. Yeah. 18,000 fans is that's doable. Like compared to thinking about this if we were to be playing game 1 at Louisville to start the season, normal times, you'd be sold out. So this is easy for Miami. But one, being prepared to play, building off what they did today, and they gotta open up the offense, take more shots downfield, get their mismatches going. That's one, and I like to see Miami create turnovers and score a touchdown.
Only one turnover tonight by the defense. Yeah. Only one.
Yeah, and that energy is like a weird one because it's the first game. You figure they'd be fired up, ready to go, and it came out flat, which is so strange because we were doing the pregame and we were like bouncing around and we're just gonna watch the team play. We're not even playing. Like how? So I have no idea how we came out flat in this game. So yeah, if they come out like that against Louisville, we're gonna get beat flatly. You got to play 4 quarters and have that energy, and it's not gonna come from fans. It's got to be self motivated. So because sometimes even going on the road will fire you up. So it's not even doesn't even need a home crowd to get, but you gotta self motivate now. You can't come out flat like that.
And it's weird we having this discussion about energy in the second year of a coach's regime because I just don't see why we should be having that conversation because that's terrible to me. Being a former player, playing at high levels and stuff like that, motivation is already self-centric in a player. Some guys need that extra boost, but for my coach to not motivate me and have me ready to play, that means I'm disconnected with him at a point, or he's just not getting to me as a player. Like he's not connected with us.
No, and it's like, it's like he said, it can't be the players anymore. Just like Vinny said, most of the players are not there anymore. But what's the one constant thing? It's the coaching staff. So at some point, you got to know that you can't be blaming points on everybody. It's the coaching staff. How about you, Danny? What do you see this game? This whole outcome here for next week at Louisville. Like, what's the one key for you that you want the Canes to come out with?
Balance. You talk about getting everybody involved in keeping up the energy, or even getting some energy. Everybody needs to touch the ball, from the running backs to the tight ends to the wide receivers. Everybody needs to have a hand in this game because it keeps players engaged and it allows the coaching staff to see what these guys can do. I mean, if you can have King firing on all cylinders and the running backs firing on all cylinders and then the tight ends doing their thing in the first ACC game of the season, that certainly bodes well. If you come out flat, disinterested, disconnected, nobody gets touches, certain players get left out, then it's just a continuation of some aspects of tonight, for sure.
So some quotes from King here. Apparently today he played his first game without his dad. I could just imagine how that must feel. One thing about the locker room vibe at halftime, we just stayed positive. Said he told the team we have to come out and score on the first drive. Obviously, we saw how they played in the third quarter. It's just, I guess, I'm with Jock, man. There's just small things here that you wouldn't expect in a second-year head coach in the same spot. You wouldn't. These little things that you would want to fix, and you kind of wanted, you had all season last season plus this offseason, and we understand about the whole COVID thing. But it's the same mistakes happening to different players, and it's like, it's just frustrating. I could just imagine for a lot of Canes fans, they were expecting something different, a better outcome. Even though, listen, a win's a win, okay? And under all these circumstances, listen, we didn't even know we had even college football, like, I don't know, maybe like a month ago. So to have this opportunity is great. It's wonderful. But now here we are where you got to put the X's and O's. And you got to see if Manny Diaz can deliver. Because if Manny Diaz can deliver in year 2, man, then you got to start back again from the drawing board without question.
Well, and I think even though it's in the rear view, and obviously we've been in a pandemic, so it's hard to like what happened last year was so terrible that's why he's, to Josh's point, that's why he's on the hot seat. It wasn't just a bad first year. Like you can't lose to FIU, not score in the bowl game. Like that's like not even on the realm of possibilities to not score in the bowl game. Forget not score, didn't enter the red zone. Like you can't play so that puts him on the it's only his second year, but you got to almost make up for that by how well you play this year to balance that out. It was that bad. So I think that does put him under fire. Two things for the Louisville game. One, they've got to figure out a way for Mallory and Jordan to be effective together on the field. That should be a problem for any defense. Those two guys on the field would be a problem for NFL defenses. And if we can't figure out how to use them, that's killing our best strength. Like, because you can't cover them with linebackers, you can't cover them with corners. They're too big and strong and too quick for linebackers. If we can't figure out how to get those guys the ball and targets constantly, then we're screwing up, because those guys are just a mismatch, and we have two of them. And then defensively, I frankly don't know what we do, but we got to cover their receivers somehow. We can't have people running open like this, but I don't have a good solution to that one. But we got to do a better job in pass coverage, because they drop passes quite frequently today. And we can't. I mean, they're going to catch them. Louisville will catch those same passes and make us pay.
Tutu out. Well, they play how they play today. They're going to have a very big game for Louisville.
Gotcha.
I don't like Miami. I just think Miami kind of.
I can sense your frustration, John.
No. I'm gonna tell. What messed Miami up was this. Mark Richt came in. They went, I think 9-3 the first year, 8-4 the next year.
I believe they were number 2 in the college football playoff, right?
No, that was not his first year. His second year. His second year, they come back. Miami, hit the ground rolling, storming, got all the way up to number 2.
And they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just that messed Miami's up, because Miami wasn't good then. Like, they were winning games just because of they had the perfect schedule. All they hard games were at home. They was able to perfect storm. If you look at that season, they won. What game did you watch that you won, except Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame just laid an egg. But what game did you watch that season and you was like, well, damn, but Miami looked like
I thought they played really well against Vatech, and Vatech, I mean, I don't remember their record, but I'm sure they came in hot. And
they
for
played.
the Canes to go and win back-to-back games against those two opponents, and I get it, it was at home. To me, that was impressive. But then you laid the egg in Pittsburgh, and everything else just went to crap after that.
Yeah, but that started the landslide of Miami not being ready to play and stuff like that. It just has continued. Manny Diaz came back. Continued. Like, Manny Diaz, I'm gonna harp on it again. Manny Diaz is on the hot seat, and if they're telling him he got job security, they're not being honest with him. Because if he does not win with this team, they're going to say, what else can we do to help you win?
Yeah, no, for real, for sure. All right, guys, I think
actually the ACC format is going to either make or break Manny Diaz, because it's a straight shot. If they put up standings at the end of the year and Miami's like in 9th place, he's dead. Like, how you're not going to hide behind your division now and be like, oh, you're in the middle. If you go 500 in conference, you're going to be near the bottom of that, because these other teams are good and you're all lined up. Notre Dame's in there too now. Like, you can't be fit when they line that thing up and it's every single team in a list. If Miami's anywhere near the bottom, he's dead. So, he's not getting any favors out of this. There's no free wins. None of that stuff you usually get to pad your record. He's gonna have to go out there and deliver.
All right, guys, I think we're gonna end it here. I think our other crew, they're still doing like the podium stuff and whatnot, but for sure we're gonna have a show next week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Please make sure to follow at 5 Reasons Canes for all your info there. Guys, can you please give your plugs in there, here and there? I know Jock could do a lot of stuff for us. I know Danny as well, but Vanish, are you gonna join us more? Because
sure. When I can, man. When I can.
Yeah.
I was trying not to get too high for the season, because if this crap gets canceled, I'm not gonna get excited. Now that we're actually playing, I'll be around, and then I'll write some stuff on the site too. So just 5 Reasons Sports. I think everyone knows the URL. Awesome stuff out there.
King Jock, where can they find you on Twitter?
King Jock 24.
Oh, look at that! All I missed was the 24. DJ, how about you?
At DGillette95, and I'll be doing a bunch of articles about whatever Ethan wants me to. I'm kind of the utility man.
Awesome. And then guys, I guess our homework is to watch Louisville this weekend, man. Just to see. I don't know who they're playing though.
It's Western Kentucky at 8 p.m.
But like still, it's always good to just watch them just for a little bit, even for a half, to kind of get an idea of where the Canes they could attack.
So we do have 2
or
extra days. That should,
And
in
also
theory, be an
2
advantage.
Exactly, 2 extra days, even though you're going on the road. All right, guys, thank you for everyone for joining us and logging in. I'm trying to see if we could probably, because we're also waiting to see when the Heat Eastern Conference
I
Finals
think they posted I think
Tuesday,
they will
right?
kick off Tuesday.
Tuesday. So I'm hoping then at least Wednesday or Thursday or so, that'll kind of give us like a week to keep indigesting this and also see how the rest of the ACC looks like after the weekend. All right, guys, have a good night. Thank you so much for joining us.